Welcome to Historic Moments with Lindsay. I'm not here to report the news. I'm here to start a conversation about the events that are affecting your life. This episode is for the week ending April 12th, 2020. Because this is the first episode, I want to take a few moments and discuss what I hope to do with the show. We live in an age of important events, and it seems like the events are getting bigger and more impactful as we go along. And not only that, we live in an age where it's so easy to spread the word, to get the news out about what's happening. So the public is more aware than ever before of the things that are happening in the world. All right. And hopefully by discussing this, we can get you thinking, and maybe you'll be encouraged to write down some of your thoughts, maybe do some journaling, maybe share your part of history with future generations. That's the hope anyways. So let's get on with the first item. So this picture is has a police officer wearing a mask. So obviously that's what's happening now. This week they've really seen a lot of the municipalities offer orders. Some cases, California has made it mandatory to be wearing masks. Some states it's optional. Many cities are doing that. Many workplaces are requiring it. And it's a good precaution. We definitely want to stem the spread of the coronavirus as much as possible. So this is a smart move. However, how do you feel about it? Not on it makes us safer. But here we have a police officer and he's got a mask. We kind of trained, aren't we, to see criminals with a mask. I mean, the old stagecoach, right? They'd be wearing a bandana and they cover their identity. We're used to that. We see in movies all the time. If stormtroopers, we can't see their faces. Generally, covering up the face is done in television and movies as a way to make the actors more sinister, to make them more menacing, because we can't read their emotions. And that's what we're having here. We're having a society that right now more and more people are doing the smart thing and putting on masks, but it kind of in a way makes them look a little more menacing. Not only that, but it covers up our ability to express ourselves through the face. So much of communication is done by watching the expressions of people as they talk. Are they smiling? Are they frowning? Are they smirking? Well, with masks covering us up, we can't really tell that. We lose the ability to express ourselves, and we lose the ability to interpret what the other person's feeling, making it a very difficult chore while you're out in the world meeting with people to understand exactly what point they're trying to make. At least their attitude, the attitude that goes behind it, the nonverbal elements of that communication. How does that make you feel? Have you noticed that? Have you had any experiences of your own where you're talking with someone and maybe you're telling a joke and you're smiling, but they can't see it? And maybe they're thinking, wow, what a jerk. Why would a person say something like that? But so often we pick up those clues from a smile that was a joke that someone said. Has that happened to you? What has been your experience during this situation? Or has it not affected your life at all? Maybe you've gone on and done business without putting on masks. Maybe you don't have masks. Maybe they're not accessible to you. But what would you think of a world that from going forward, we all had to wear masks all the time? What would that be like? All right, so that's topic one. Next one is a report that I picked up from Seneca Athletics from their website, and it's about a firefighter making masks. So obviously, here we have this event, the coronavirus, and the response is to be putting masks on to protect one another, and there's so many people and there's not enough masks. So what we've had is a firefighter in his spare time making masks for other people in order to protect them. So that's a great response there. How does that make you feel? What do you think about it? Do you have an experience like that? Are you hoping that you could find someone in your neighborhood that is making masks, or are you making masks? What about other things that we could be doing? I think this is a great example that a disaster, a tragedy, a horrible event can bring out the best. Yeah, it can also bring out the worst in people. But in this case, we're seeing people come together, working together to overcome a difficult thing. Now, what about in your life? Have you had the chance to help someone else? Or has someone else helped you? Right? And how does that make you feel? Okay, item number 3, got a picture of a nearly empty freeway. I think most of us have seen that. Some of the cities, they look like ghost towns. They look like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. No cars, no people. You kind of expect tumbleweeds to be rolling through the street, maybe a few aliens skittering down the back alleys. And is that the direction our world is going to? Probably not. Not in the long run. We're definitely hoping that everything's going to be coming back online. We're going to be meeting together once again. But is there going to be an impact from that? Are we going to get used to being socially distanced? Are we going to be used to not traveling, not going out? Are some of the industries going to, obviously they're going to suffer. A lot of them are already suffering, but they may not recover. Does this mark an end to the nightlife and the social life outside the home that we've been used to? Are there benefits for this? Are there negatives for this? Obviously, there's negatives for this. But what are they for you? In your life, what is seeing an empty road or a nearly empty road? How does that make you feel? How does it affect your life? All right, item 4. We got another picture of nearly empty. So this is an empty chapel. Now we're moving away from the streets and the freeway to religion. Now here we are, place of God. A disaster like this traditionally brings people to worship, brings people to church, so they can pray about the disaster or whatever else they do, or just for companionship of people of a similar religious background. But with this virus, that's not happening. We're being encouraged to not go to church. All right, what's the effect on you? Well, some people have ignored it. That's what I've heard. They have ignored the order to stay at home and have met anyways. Other people aren't going to church. I've seen drive-through confessions. I'm sure there's online churches. Probably television church services are way up. How is it affecting your life if you go to church? How are things different now? How are you dealing with it? How are you responding to it? Do you have plans to change how you worship because of this? Or are things going to be the same? Are you more inclined to go to church after this situation is over? Or are you less inclined? I'd like to hear about that. And by the way, so any of these things that I bring up, I would love to hear responses in the comments. Please feel free to leave some comments about how any of these items or all of these items are affecting you in your life. Okay, so not everything is negative in the news. This report by the Washington Post showing less pollution. Obviously, less cars driving around, maybe a few less factories producing what they're doing. There is less pollution. Now, that seems to be a good thing. So are we looking at a silver lining in a dark cloud? Or should we feel guilty about being happy that there's less pollution and pointing out the good point of it? Yeah, I'm not sure. For me, that's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Yeah, I sure don't like the pollution, but would I rather have the pollution or the population not being affected by this disease? All right, item number 6. Several of the news agencies this week reported that this is the first time ever all 50 states are in a state of emergency. I kind of call it the 50 states of emergency, based off the book, 50 Shades of Grey. Although it has nothing to do with the book or the story. It's just, a goofy play on words. So this is a historic event to have all 50 states, for the first time ever, be in a state of emergency. That's requiring, the result of that obviously is a taxing of the federal ability to help each of the states in an emergency. This federal government isn't in a situation to be able to help all 50 states all the time. New plans are having to go into place to be able to assist and help people. This is taxing our resources to a level that I don't know that we've ever been taxed before. So how does that look from where you're sitting, where you're standing? Is the state of emergency affecting you? Or are you one of the fortunates that are able to get by? Now, in my household, it hasn't been too bad. We are staying at home, as we've been constructed, but I work from home to begin with. My wife is easily able to work from home, and the kids just look at this as a very boring summer vacation or an extended spring break, however you want to look at it. They kind of want to get back to school, which is a good thing. Because they're bored staying home with mom and dad all the time. But not everyone is as fortunate as my family is. What about your family? How does it look for your family? And how does that make you feel? Are you worried? What concerns do you have about moving forward? This is a state of emergency. Is your state going to be able to help you in this emergency? Is the federal government going to be able to help your state to help you? All questions that will be interesting to see how they get resolved in the future. All right, and the last thing is kind of a positive one. KSAT in San Antonio, they broadcast that a worldwide fast was in place, or scheduled for Friday, Good Friday. And the idea behind this worldwide fast is that people of all faiths, of all religions, should give up something of their own in an appeal for help, for divine help. And I believe that the website promised that there would be miracles available. We would witness miracles as we participated. And what really amazed me was the responses, the comments that were made by people who did participate. Muslims and Jewish people and members of all faiths participated and reported miracles in their lives because of this. Is that going to have an effect? I guess we'll kind of see. Well, this week coming up, will it be a week where we see the disease subsiding, or at least the effects of it? Maybe we have less cases of infection. Maybe we have more recoveries. Maybe we have some other sort of response that doesn't fit into either one of those two categories. And how does it make you feel? Were you inclined? Did you participate in this worldwide fast? Do you think it's a silly idea? What is your personal response, your personal thoughts about such an action? Can a combined consciousness focused on a problem make a difference? And even if you take God out of the picture, just the fact that it's a combined wills, the use of the mind, can the human mind affect what happens in the world? All interesting things to think about. All right, so that's what I have for this week. The first week, sorry if it's a little bit rough. I'm sure hoping that in the weeks to come, this will go a little bit smoother as I get used to the format and I get used to talking by myself. I'm definitely used to doing a show with a co-host. All right, so once again, if you have comments, please leave them. Please respond about how you you were affected by any of these things, or what you think about any of these things. All right. So until next week, goodbye.